minds about the light presentation of evidence that came forward that rocked their worlds. And none of them were young people with limited knowledge. They were all seasoned individuals, as we are here, very good and competent thinkers, deep thinkers. And they realized the size of the fraud that they had been led into, and realized that I was upholding the law and telling the truth, absolutely beyond doubt. So here we stand, and here we stand. I expected these doors to be shut up against me when I got here. I fully expected this saboteuristic action to occur because, you see, on the other side of the door, on the other side of the wall, there is complete and total incompetency, a split mind, and a double tongue at work. It'll happen in every word, every speech, every phrase claimed, everything. I've already filed 175 pages of information under the amicus curiae brief, 6 pages of claimed rights. I filed in 54 pages of settled law issues over the settled law cases over the driver's license issue. I filed in 13 pages United States Supreme Court ruling 2007 that said those 1,103 cases are absolutely correct, and it's all backed by the 1789 Constitution. For this mindless mess to proceed in the way it is just exactly what I expect. Because there's no validity in this place. You see, it runs on hoax, darkness, and your faith in their hoax committed in darkness. As long as you cannot see them for what they are in the light of day, then you will believe in them and their system, and you will uphold. I was reading out loud a section of the Bar-UN Treaty last night on camera, and it was somewhat shocking when we got to a little portion about where the citizen is expected just to understand the law the way it is and not ask questions. You just bend right over and be a good little citizen, and they're going to tell you what the law is. And if the law happens to be that the next breath you take is now a federalized United Nations percentage of oxygen, and you don't have a license to utilize that oxygen, you're breaking a law. And now you're under arrest for breathing. And don't think I'm kidding. If you comprehend this stuff, you will know that the Pope, Franciscus, claims to have jurisdiction of the air, known as Ares, known as Eris, the god Ares. Rome is absolutely in charge of this whole mess. The UN is the face of Rome upon the American soil, and the bar is the face of the UN upon American soil, dedicated to this saboteuristic overthrow at any cost, all done by contract. What will come out of this now? I don't know, but I'm not in the habit of running away from the battlefield, so I guess here I'll stand. And if anybody has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them with the research I've done. Field's open. Anybody got coffee? Donuts?
Are you gonna take any action as far as like asking Stormy what she has planned next, or say anything to her while you're here?
I can't voluntarily cross the bar, and Stormy can only hear the voice of the dead. Stormy Langston cannot hear the voice of the living. It's why you have to identify what I just said. You have to identify on the record what the dead are, what that means, and why you're not reckoned amongst them.
Okay. And in your last time here, I remember you saying something about you were willing to go to district court and cross-file.
I may have to do that, depends on what gets done here today. I haven't seen the outcome of this mindless charade here. We'll see.
How will you see it, or do you think you will?
If I were to run on supposition, I can tell you for a fact, with evidence more than aboard, that the slave was born in guilt. But the slave, in all capital letters, I am not contracted to be. And I refuse voluntarily to impersonate that federalized slave, okay? So the slave was born 55 plus years ago, claiming the same first breath that I did, as a usurpacious clone, like a vampire born at the same time you were born and I was born, and it sucked energy forms off of me all of my life. It's only been the last half dozen years that I realized these things were ongoing and not on my own. I've had much help along the way. The point of it is actual, and it's happening to you, and to you, and you, and you, and you, on down the whole town is the victims of this core pirate ploy. All right? So that Everything you work for with the sweat of your hands, they get to usufruct and harvest before it comes to you. Now, to protect themselves and claim immunity in the doing of all this, they durst not let the light of day into their dens of iniquitous darkness. This is why they shut the doors up against the truth and stop all their ears so that they cannot hear the truth. The Bible speaks clearly to this repeatedly. What did Christ say about them? Christ said, for example, if the light that is in your eye is good, pure, holy, is a truthful and honorable light, then that's very good indeed. But if the light that is in your eye, meaning the pineal gland, be darkness, evil tree, malintent, criminal intent, all the crap that you can think of in there, then he said, behold, how terrible is that darkness, for it consumes the lives of men. It is the grave. That's the grave on the other side of that bar, other side of that door, okay? Now I ask you, do the living have place standing in a grave? Is that where they belong?
No.
No, of course not. Do the dead walk amongst us?
That's a good question.
Yes. You want to see them? Open the door and look in. There's two of them. Stormy and Clifton are two of the dead that walk amongst the living. They will introduce themselves to you as members of the deceased underworld, called civiliter mortus, off of the word obtus, okay? At every turn in all capital letters, it will say, Honorable Judge Stormy Langston. Clifton Hayden on every document out here has got Clifton Hayden in all capital letters. Has dog Latin, and in the Chicago Manual of Styles of Grammatical Order and Procedure, it is known as an unknown language. Now, in America, why is the All Hell Legal Society operating on an unknown language, I ask?
For deception, trickery.
Could it be the Codex Viperius, the serpent tongue, the split tongue that comes from a split mind, from they that walk the two paths instead of being one-hearted, true to the land, true to the people, true to truth? That's exactly what this is, and it's done by oath to it, and the oath bears a lifetime ramification. Name me an attorney, a lawyer, a judge, a politician who has sworn that oath to the bar and ever recanted, confessed, admitted, repented, and restored. Name me one. Anybody here name me one of those? Do you ever hear of it? No, because it is a spiritual oath and it is parasitic, and it chokes the life out of them in the very speaking of it itself. Every time their eyes behold the grammatical misrepresentation of it, the sick misnomer, and they believe in it and they uphold it and they polish it even more, the deeper they go. So, what's going on is the jury has been stacked, this is rigged, the trial is in progress as we speak. Perhaps it's over, and the slave has been found guilty in absentia.
Officer! Officer!
Look at the rats flee the ship. Probably there's a warrant for arrest sworn out at this point, and because I refuse to violate contract law, I'm not going to be able to impersonate the slave that I'm not. If I did so, I would alienate myself away from my constitutional protections. You, Mr. Hayden, fleeing for his not life, he says he's dead. Wasn't me that done it. How was the response?
When I was in there, she said, well, the witness isn't here. And the police officer, Clint Heinz, or whatever his name is.
The one that just ran for his life?
Yeah.
His non-life?
He spoke up without being called on, says, yes, he is here. He's right out there in the parking lot. If you're in the parking lot, you're still on the premises. You may have
Of course, this is all public property. Now you're gonna witness a pirate stick to her guns of self-destruction. This morning, the Lord gave my mom a vision of a ship at sea. And in the side of that ship at sea was a tremendous big hole.